and it's news about the Canon EOS R1. So Canon's answer to the Nikon Z9. I'll give it to you, first of all, in confusing, badly translated quotes.
Okay.
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
So an internal source was quoted as saying, the R1 will be the jack of all trades and the master of none.
Yeah, I heard that before.
Except it's the master of everything.
No, see, the problem there is
it makes no sense.
They've actually discredited
the
new camera.
Yeah,
the English saying the jack of all trades and the master of none is someone that can get the job done, just not great.
Yeah, I tie my hand to a bit of everything, but I'm not.
So then they correct that.
Yeah.
By saying, but it can. So it can do everything, just not great.
Except it can do it all great.
Tricked you.
Got ya.
Wow, that is a terrible line to use.
Yeah, it's awful. An awful quote, but I get what they're trying to say. What they're trying to say is this is going to be the master camera for everything.
Yeah.
This is going to be the 1DX.
But I want to take photos.
Yes, so this is the new R3.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I need film.
But it's also got the R5's video specs.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So-
in one. Massive.
Basically,
body.
disregard what they've just said.
Yeah.
Because they haven't sold it very well.
No, they've not done a great job of that. So, news is a little thin on the ground on this, I will admit. I have had to scrape around to find a good story. And specifically, specs news is very thin, which would suggest that although there is stories about it coming, it's quite far off still. Because you start to see more spec leaks the closer you get to a launch.
I've been in close proximity with many women in my life.
Okay, yes.
Most of them have always been grateful when it comes, but at some point in the distance. So, although you might feel that this is in bad taste, AJ, for some people that could be favourable. Just wait a little bit longer,
Oh yeah, hold off.
The anticipation that some enjoy.
See, I'm impatient. I just like to get to the end quickly.
Yeah, well, some things aren't to be rushed.
Okay.
The R1.
For example. So yeah, news is thin on the ground, especially about specs. But there is one key thing that we're hearing is that it will have a larger resolution sensor than the EOS R5, and that's currently a 45 megapixel sensor, that camera.
It's more than enough.
Way more than enough. It's too much for sports photography, which is why the R3 has a smaller resolution sensor. I don't know what you're going to be doing with a sensor bigger than 45 megapixels.
Flexing.
Yeah, printing on the side of buildings. What's the point?
Oh, you can say, look how big my megapixel count is.
Which sits nicely in line with holding off longer.
Yeah.
So, but it does play into the idea that they're going to try and create a master camera.
Yeah.
Whether it will sell or not is a different story, because I can't imagine photogs running out to buy a 16 megapixel mirrorless. Don't make sense.
No.
And filmmakers aren't either, especially if, as our previous story said, the R5C is coming. They're not going to rush out to buy the R1.
I don't know how true this is, but I feel that sometimes they release something that is just so epic. They don't care if they sell hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands.
Yeah.
It's just to say they can.
Yeah, I think there's an amount of that.
And if they go crazy on it with a crazy price tag and it just doesn't sell tons, look at the top end of what there is to aspire to. I don't know quite who it's going to be for if it goes with a silly price tag.
Well, so price tag's an interesting point. Obviously, we know that the Z9, which they're going to try to be competing with now, is a $5,500 in the UK price point, which is a fair price for a professional bit of kit. This is going to have to be above what the R3 is priced at, and that's a £6,000 camera at the moment. one of the other sources has said that we're unlikely to see the return of a 10 grand camera body, but it's going to have to be priced above the R3, which is 6,000. So what are we looking at? 8,000? 7 grand?
It's got to be right up there.
And then who's it for at that point?
Yeah, it's the bit that I always struggle with when they start releasing their stats on, or tech specs on these different cameras and what form factor they're going to be in. And then I start thinking of how I would use that. And, maybe it's studio photography, maybe it's more live photography on the spot, fast and adaptable, paparazzi kind of style. Or maybe it's because I like shooting
birds,
wildlife. So I can go through that, and then I think about film settings where I would be filming and what sort of form factor and how adaptable it is to the type of filming look that I'm going for. And sometimes I just struggle with that.
Yeah.
Because is it a studio bit of kit or is it an out and about? How run and gun is it for practicality? And am I going to be with a big rig for this? In which case, so there's so much that goes into who's it for.
Yes.
And I don't think the R&D departments consider any of that. They just look at their own entity, and I think they look left and right what everyone else is doing.
For certain, yeah.
But I think they look at their suite of cameras and go, right, what can we push forward with next with the technology we've got and where we're adapting it? And then adopters or us out there, consumers, have to then work out which one suits us, but they don't entirely fit.
No.
Because we weren't the target in the first place.
Sometimes it's nailed on and it's like, oh, that's a sports photography camera. Like the R3 is a good example of that. Bang on. That's going to be for people at the Olympics taking photos of people doing long jumps, And sometimes, more often than not, is what you say. It's the kind of confusing, I'm going to crowbar it into how I use a camera, but it doesn't quite work. And when they come out with quotes like, it's the jack of all trades, that rings an alarm bell to me. It's like, well, you've not really considered who's it for. You think it's going to be the best camera for everyone doing everything, when you consider that the Nikon Z9 that it's going to be competing with is a jack of all trades camera, is $5,500. So it could be around half the price. That would be a serious issue in the marketplace, at least. You at very least, those Nikon users that were on the edge of waiting aren't going to jump over to Canon if that's the alternative offering.
So that about wraps us up for this week. Thank you very much, AJ. That was an interesting show.
Wow.
And if you found it interesting, make sure you do all the normal things like, comment, follow if you're on social media, subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube.
Nice.
Look at these beautiful faces.
Wow. And if you want to see the full show, that is available to channel members. There's a button below. You need to press it. And also, if you like free stuff, mainly Pete's equipment, join our mailing list. It's available on 120fps.co.uk, where we give you the chance to win our gear pretty much every week. And there's a load of other stuff to be there as well, like free downloads and all of that good stuff. And that is available at 120fps.co.uk.
Right, firstly, before you end it, that's not okay.
That's fine.
That's not okay.
No, it's .co.uk.
No, it's my stuff. It's not okay.
Yeah, we're going to give it away. All of it. So,
and I spoke to accounts and they said it's not a viable business model to keep giving away free stuff.
Oh.
So maybe end that as well.
Okay, yes. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, if we haven't gone bankrupt.
Remember, fun, show love. Bye!